Hey everyone, welcome to this piece on finding the surface area of a cylinder. So most of us have probably had some experience with finding surface areas of prisms, lots of shapes with flat faces on them. It could be rectangular prisms, triangular prisms, pyramids. And now we're going to look at breaking down a cylinder and see if we can start at the base and build that back up. So let's get straight into it. On the left here, you can see that I have got two circles and a rectangle. So one circle at the top, one circle at the bottom. And we've got measurements for all of those. Now, lots of us are probably okay by now, hopefully finding the area of a circle and even finding the area of a rectangle. But the funny thing about this one is that we've got a strange little measurement there, which is 2 pi r. So what you may have noticed already is that these three shapes together will make up when we put them together, construct them, glue them together, will make up a cylinder. I can draw that straight line. So it looks something like that, and then come back around there. Okay. So we can see where the circles come from. Draw the top and the bottom, and hopefully we'll have some background knowledge on finding the area of those. We hopefully now can see why we might use this equation there to find the length of that part of the rectangle. Okay, so 2 pi r is the equivalent of the circumference of our circle here. So if we were to go around here and measure that, that would be exactly the same as the length of this piece of material right there, because that would make it all the way around that to form the cylinder. All right. So that's why 2 pi r is used as a measurement there. We don't need to measure it exactly if we know the radius. So we're told the radius is 5. So the length of that becomes 2 pi times 5. Okay, because that's the equation for the circumference of the circle. Okay. So let's kick on ahead and find the area of the two circles. So let's just go PSA of the two circles. All right, we've got two of them. So I know I've got two groups of something, and the area of a circle is given to us by pi r squared. All right, so if we take all that into consideration, hopefully we know that r is the radius, or halfway across a circle, or from the middle of a circle to its edge. So pi times r squared, where r is 5. Now, you might want to go ahead and do 2 times pi times 25. Okay. We could take it one step further and go and multiply out 2 and 25 together and get 50 pi. Okay. And that could be an exact answer for those two. But for us, I'm going to go over to our calculator here and go pi times 50. Get myself an answer. Just going to take it to one decimal place. I'll round it to 157.1. Okay. And that is the area of our two circles. So the total surface area of our two circles is equal to that. Okay. Notice, remember that I did do 2 at the top. So this here is the area of one circle, pi r squared. Multiply that by 2 to get our two circles. The area of our rectangle, part B, is, as we can see, a rectangle is given by its length and width. Now we've got one, let's call that the length. So we've got 25. I'm actually going to do this. So length by 2 pi r. Okay, so length by the width is 2 pi r. And now let's substitute in our values. 25 times 2 pi, and r, as we did before, is 5. Now again, I can go and link some of those, multiply some of those together fairly easily. So 25, 2, and 5, I can multiply all those together and come up with, so 2 5s are 10, 10 times 25 is 250. So that is 250 pi, so that's an exact answer for the area of our rectangle there. I'm going to go and get a decimal here. For our comprehension, sometimes it's a little bit easier. So where am I? I want 250 pi, and I get 785.4. Around to one decimal place as well. Now part C asks us to find the area of the combined areas. Okay, so now we're looking for the total surface area of the cylinder itself. So part B gave us the body of the cylinder. Part A gave us the top and the bottom. We combine those two, and we will have the total surface area of our cylinder. And we get 157.1 plus 785.4. That over here is my clear button. So 157.1 plus 785.4, and we get a total surface area of 942.5. And to give it its units, we're finding an area, a calculation based on area. So we'll give it centimeters squared. That's our total surface area of that rectangle right there, broken down to pieces. Now, we can actually shorten that a little bit, which is pretty handy. So if we scroll down and we're asked to find the surface area of this piece here, we can actually, okay, total surface area of a cylinder, rather than having all those pieces up the top that I've got, can be made up as 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay. So what that effectively says is we've got in this first bit 2 circles, and in this second bit we've got that bit there is the equivalent of the length, for instance, and times the height. Okay, length width, length times height. If we think about the height of the rectangle here, you're right, that's the height. And when we talk about the length is going to be the equivalent of going around the circumference of the circle. Okay, so now that we've got one equation, it's sort of long, but we can just substitute our numbers into that and drop a couple of steps out. So 2 pi r is 6 here, squared plus 2 pi r times 13. Okay, now just for the sake of it, see if it works out neatly, I'm going to go and simplify some of this. So 6 squared is 36, 2 times that's 72 pi. And add that to 6 times 13 is 78. 78 times 2 is, I think it's 156. 156 pi. Now, because they've got like terms, I can actually add those two together. So 72 and 56 is 200 and 28, I think. I'll double check that. Gets late. Never sure if the brain's working right. Plus 156, 228. Happy days. So the exact, if you ever ask for an exact answer, so an exact answer is something without decimals or without recurring decimals, that sort of thing in it, then that would be an exact answer for the surface area of that cylinder. Now, if I take that and multiply it by pi, I'll actually get the decimal answer. So let's go and multiply our answer by pi. Oops, where did that 10 come from? Delete button. There we go. And I get a value of 716.3. It's a form of area. So we've got that. Okay. So key thing there was that we found we used the equation for total surface area. It's possible that this section here could be swapped for pi dh, where d is the diameter. Okay, so if you see that, that is interchangeable. The diameter is twice the radius, so we don't need the 2 there. So we have to multiply the radius by 2 to get that exact. Whereas if we use the diameter, we don't have to. The thing is, if we're using the radius already, sometimes easy to use the radius again. But just be aware that that's a possible substitution. So anyway, back to the point, we can use one equation to plug all our values in. If you don't need an exact value, you can go from this point here on your calculator and take it all the way down to there. Okay. And last of all, we can have portions of a cylinder. We'll go into these more technically later, but hopefully here we can see we've got half a cylinder. So let's break this down and work it out. So we've got 2 half circles here. Okay, so TSA of our half circles is equal to, well, if I've got 2 half circles, it's the same as 1 whole circle. Okay, so we know that a circle's area is pi r squared. So we can work out that that is pi times 2 squared, which is 4 pi. So yeah, 4 pi, 12.6. Okay, we've got half circle there. So instead of our original equation, we can use, so we had, for the full body, we did have, let's see, right, TSA of the rectangle I'm going to put is 2 pi RH. Okay. Now, this one, though, is going to be half. Okay, so we're going to divide that by 2. I'll put that slightly differently. Strange things going on with my board here. So let's divide that by 2. Now, as you can see there, if we have a situation like this, it could be a fraction, we can treat it as division, and we've got a common number on the top and bottom, or we can find something that divides into both of them. We can cancel some things out. So 2 goes into 2 and 2 goes into 2, so they'll cancel each other out. So the TSA of the rectangle is actually pi RH. Pi RH is just half of 2 pi RH. That's 1 pi RH. Then we've got pi, the radius was 2, the height is 8. So let's go plug that in over here. 8 by 2 by pi. And we get 50.3. Okay, so there's 2 surface areas now, and last time that's all we had to find. We had a body and we found 2 circles. This time though, we need to recognize that we've got this base here that it's sitting on. Okay, that's a fairly easy one. So the rectangle base, I'm just going to put the TSA of the base because I poorly used rectangle up there. TSA of the base is 4 by 8, which is 32. And now the TSA of the half a cylinder is all of those added together. So we got 12.6 plus 32 plus 50.3. And we can do that in our head, can we? So we got 82, and that gives us 94.9 centimeters squared. Okay, so hopefully that helps you break down a cylinder. So the important parts is if you've got half a cylinder, you need to halve the body of it. Also, technically halve the ends, or just find the area of one circle instead of 2 because they're identical half circles. And then remember to find our base, or the rectangular portion, the face, whatever you want to call it. And back up here, the key part here is that we are able to simply substitute into that formula first. If you can substitute in, then you can use a calculator every single time. You can't quite get to finding an exact answer. That's okay. It'll be a skill that we pick up down the track. But if we can go from where this green arrow shows us, then that's fine. And we built it up here. Hopefully that helps you out with the surface area of a cylinder. Like it, subscribe if you would like to, leave a comment if you've got some questions. Okay, have a fantastic evening. See you again.